Miss Lee. Back again. Just kidding. I never left. I'm still here. I do that a lot. All right. Today we're going to talk about our favorite thing in the world, fractions. Again, benchmark fractions. These are very important fractions that you really should know before you even start middle school. So if you're in 5th grade, this should be helpful for you. Pretty much, I'm going to show you like the most common fractions that you're going to see, with the exception of like 12ths and stuff like that. Like you're going to deal with 12ths a lot, but like not as often as these other ones. So I'm going to start with pretty much like 1/2. So 1/2. That is a benchmark fraction, which means this should just be something that you know. It should not be, oh, I know it because I divide. No, this should be something that you just know. 1/2. When you think about 1/2, let's talk about money, because I love money. I love talking about money. I love money. So here we go. So 1/2 of $1 is what? 50 cents. 1/2 of 100 is $50, right? So 1/2 as a decimal is 50 cents. If you think about money, it's 50 cents. Okay. Now, little lesson on turning decimals into percents. Anytime you want to turn a decimal into a percent, because we know that fraction is 1/2, we know it equals 50 cents. Okay. If I wanted to know the percent of that, what's 1/2 of something? What's half off mean? What percent off? Half off. Oh, hey, this is half off. How much percent off is that? 50%, right? But how do I turn that into that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the decimal twice to the right. If I want to go from a decimal to a percent, I'm going to move the decimal twice to the right. So 1, 2, and that would be 50%. So 1/2, 0.50, 50%. If you want to write this down for yourself, you should. You should practice it anytime you're dealing with fractions and decimals and such. You should use this paper. Okay, next I'm going to deal with fourths, just because I'm weird like that, and like I'm doing half, so I want to go to fourths. I'm going to go back to thirds, but whatever. So 1/2, and then I have 1/4. Well, think about it. Let's think about money once again. What do I need 4 of to equal a whole dollar? What amount of money do I need 4 of to equal a whole dollar? I'm going to give you a hint. It's a coin. What do I need 4 of to equal a whole dollar? 25 cents. You need 25 cents. Okay, so your decimal is 0.25. It's 25 cents. A quarter in money terms means 25 cents, right? So if I wanted to turn that into a percent, I would move the decimal twice and it would be 25%. Okay, now 3/4. Well, if 1/4 is 1/4, now I have 3/4. How much money is 3/4? If you have quarters, pause the video and go get some quarters. Mom, Dad, if you're hearing me and you got some quarters, give your child some quarters real quick. Thank you. Pause it. Give them some quarters. Like, we gonna get this. So how much money is 3/4? 75 cents. When you count with money, it's so much easier because you guys already have a concept of money. And you move the decimal twice to the left and it equals 75%. So that's my halves and my fourths. Those are your benchmarks. Ooh, where are you going? Where are you going? Okay, next I have my thirds. So I have 1/3. Now, this one, it's not like you can just be like, oh, let's talk about money. On the thirds, it's kind of difficult because you don't really ever like break money into threes. So what I do is in this one, unfortunately, I would divide it. Now, if you have a way to know that's easier than just dividing that 1/3 what the decimal is, then let me know. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide. Now, with a fraction, dividing, you always want to do the top number inside, or the first number inside. So the top number goes inside because the top number is number 1. Now, this is a house, right? We call this the house, the division thing. We call that the house. The top number goes inside because the top number is on top, which means it's above the other number. So no matter what, that top number is always going to get somewhere first. So this number goes inside and 3 goes on the outside. So here we go. Can 3 equal 1? No. So I'm going to put an X. Now, I don't have any more numbers to work with, so I have to make numbers, but I can't just like pull numbers out of the sky. So I'm gonna add a decimal and I'm gonna take it to the top. And I'm just gonna add a 0. Now, can 3 equal 10? Well, no, but it can equal close to 10 3 times, and that is 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. I'm gonna add another 0. And as you can see, we're just repeating. So the decimal for 1/3 is 0.33. Okay, repeating. Now, if I wanted to turn that into a percent, it would be 33%, because I just moved that decimal twice to the left. Now, if it was written like this, right, and I moved it twice to the left, it'd be 33.33 repeating percent. Right. All right. Sorry, I did not mean to erase that. I'm having a whole allergy crisis up in here. All right, now I have 2/3. So, I mean, it's pretty much what we did with the other problem. Instead of 1/3, I have 2/3. So, I'm going from 1 to 2. So how do you get from 1 to 2? By multiplying. So what would the double of 33 be? It would be 66, repeating. You move the decimal twice to the right, and it's 66%. All right, and then we have this one. I wouldn't say they're like benchmark fractions, but they're really easy to understand. So the fifths. And this is why, because you can think about money again with this. So think about it. What amount of money, it's a paper bill, okay? What amount of money, what amount of paper bills would you need to equal 100 if you only have 5 of them? If you only have 5 of them, what amount of money? So let's count tens or fives, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Nope, doesn't equal 100. All right, pretend that you're counting this money. And mom and dad, if you guys have money or Monopoly money, go get your kids some Monopoly money really quick and just have them take out the money and see what they count, what they need to count 5 of in order to get $100. So next I would count tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, not 100. We don't have $15 bills, but we had $20 bills. So we got 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. All right, so we need 5 $20 bills. Now remember, in a fraction, if this was a fraction, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares, and only one of them are filled. Does that equal a whole number? No. Is that entire thing filled up? No. Therefore, it cannot be a whole number. It can't be 20 because it's less than 1. It has to be 0.20, okay? And then same thing, we move the decimal twice to the right, boom, boom, and we have 20%. Okay, same thing, we have 2/5. The only difference is, how do you get from 1 to 2? We multiply by 2. We do the same thing here. 20 times 2 is 40, right? And then we have 40%, and then we have 3, and it's the same thing. So it would be 0.60, 60%, and so on and so forth. I wasn't going to, but I will do like 1/12. So I'm gonna struggle through this with you guys. So I don't have a trick for this, but if you have one, let a sister know, because like I'm always trying to give you guys the best tricks, tips, and explanations. So I'm going to, once again, the top number is always gonna be in first place. It's always gonna come first, so it goes inside. 12 cannot equal 1. I add a decimal, I bring it to the top, I add a 0. 12 cannot equal 10. I add a 0. Now I'm always going to start at 5 because I don't know how many times 12 equals 100. So I'm just going to start at 5 because that'll tell me if I'm going to go up or if I'm going to go down. So here we go. 5 times 2 is 10. If I'm going too fast, just pause as you go. Pause as you go. If you're writing down 12 times 5 and I'm just blowing through this super fast, pause it. Try to do 12 times 5 and then finish. And then unpause it. Okay, 5 times 1 is 5 plus 1 is 6. So I have a couple that I could go up. I wouldn't say that it's going to be 6, and I don't know if I would say it's going to be 7. So let's try 8. Hopefully I'm not wrong. Pause and try it times 8. 8 times 2 is 16. Carry the 1. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 1 is 9. Oh, and it was 8. And so that equaled 96. 100 minus 96 is 4. I add a 0. I bring it down. Oh, I actually think I remember the answer to this. Okay, now I need it to equal 40. This is why you never erase your work, silly Miss Lee. 12 times 5 was 60, so we know it's less than 5. So that way we don't have to do 5 again. We don't have to do all those multiplication problems. If you guys find yourself always hating dividing because you just feel like you're doing the same multiplication problem over and over and over. It's so many multiplication problems. Just don't erase your work and like cross off as you go. So here we go. 12 times, let me try 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is, 3 times 1 is 3. Okay, that's gonna work. It's 3, let me make sure. 3 times 2 is 6 and 3 times 1 is 3. Yeah, that's gonna work, 36. And then that's left with 40. 40 minus 36. And I'm gonna add a 0, bring it down, and I'm gonna get 40 again. So the answer, this number right here is a 0, would be 0.083. And that would equal, I'm gonna move it over, 1, 2, 8.3%. Like I said, this is not a benchmark fraction, but you do deal with 12ths in middle school. So just be aware, they do be trying to get you with the 12ths every time. All right, I hope this helped. Bye.